Welcome to this tutorial. This is Gwiza again. Today we are going to talk about file handling in C. So first of all, we are going to see what is a file and how can we write and read from a file. How can we do some other operations on a file like copying a file, renaming the file, or doing any other operation on a file. Usually a file is a collection of related data that computer treats as a single unit. That means nimba dufite file y'abanyeshuri ntabwo muri list y'abanyeshuri uzabonamo imbwa. That means it should be related data. And then those data the computer will treat it like or as a single unit. Usually a computer stored the files were stored muri secondary memory. Kubera iki biba stored aho ngaho ni ukugira ngo igihe uzimije machine then the content of the file will remain. So usually then there is a course of action that a computer is doing while you are reading or writing. When you are reading, that means uri gusoma the content of the file, ni ukuvuga computer iri kuvana that content kuri second storage ikabizana muri main memory kugira ngo ushobore kuyiprocessinga nawe ubibone. Then iyo uvuze the same as writing, then it is the same from the main memory to the second or to the storage devices. Rero aha ngaha ntabwo uko dusanzwe tubikora nk'uko ujyamo muri on your local disk, then you say network troubleshooting ukadouble clickingaho ku buryo file wihita ifunguka, ntabwo ari the same as we are going to do now. Then twebwe uburyo tuzajya tubikoresha tuba tubukoresha pointer. That means there should be a pointer. Here we'll be having a pointer, and that pointer will be pointing to the file. Let me say this is the file. If this is the file, then we need a pointer from there. Let me say this is a pointer. Then my pointer will be, for example, file pointer. Let me say it is file pointer. Then this file pointer, it will be pointing where? It will be pointing to this file. So if we want to do any operation on this file, we not access to this file name. Let me say this is the file name. We not access to this file name, but we'll only access to the pointer. Then this is what I was saying here. Then ahangaha rero turaza kubona ko we will need those standard input and output. Then concept rero ahangaha twabonye ko it is a stream of data. Usually a stream can be pictures, music, videos, characters, numbers. So tugiye kureba how can we use all of these data types in a file. How can we save all of them in a file? Usually the concept of stream, there's the use of file and also a stream as a flow of input and output data. So then here the types of stream tugira standard input, standard output na standard error. Standard input, usually how do the computer gets the input from the user? It is through keyboard, right? Cyangwa izindi input devices. Then standard output kuri machine muri C programming, standard output tuba tuyibonera kuri screen. Na standard error, iyo ubonye error buri gihe iba displayed to you via the screen. So then standard stream rero in C, so we're having those input and output. Input and output. Input we're having scanf and getCal. Output we're having printf, output car, put C. So we're having so many. So then we are going to see the steps in processing a file. Usually when you are dealing with the file structure, then you need to create a pointer. So that pointer will be the one that you'll be using when you want to read when you want to write, when you want to create a file, even when you want to close the file. So these are the three major actions that can be done on a file. The first one is create the file. The second one is read and write the data in a file. And the third one is the closing the file. I think you understand. So then here, those basic operations, then these are the basic operations that we can do. The first one is file open. The second one is file close, file read, file write, file seek, and file tell or fget position. Usually fopen igufasha opening a file, ariko aha ngaha ugomba kugaragaza the mode. Mode usually it can be read or write. So when you say read, that means you are only going to read the content of a file. Writing, so if you cannot read the content of a file without having a file before, you understand? Ni ukuvuga ngaho ukoresheje read as the mode of opening your file mu gihe iyo file yari ihari. Iyo idahari iguha error. Write then ni ukuvuga iyo ihari irayisiba ihita ifata length yayo ikazana kuri 0, that means it is deleting everything and then it will be writing whatever you want to write now. Then fclose, it will help you to close all the files. Aha ngaha ni ukubera iki fclose is very important. Usually if you don't close your files, they can be flashed from the buffer. Bishobora kuzagutera ikibazo kubera yuko sometimes when the buffer is going to be flashed, it can be flashed through the screen. Ariko uzabona machine yaguhaye restart because the buffer is being flashed. So then we can also use this fread, which is usually read from a file, fwrite, which is write into a file, fseek or fset position, it is moving a file pointer to somewhere in a file. That means if you want to read, for example, from the fifth character, fifth line, fifth column, then you can use that function. So then hanga hari modes. Twabonye ko hano tushobora kuba dufite read na write mode. So read mode, it is a mode used when you want to open a file in read mode. So if the file exists, the marker is positioned at the beginning, or the cursor or the pointer is positioned at the beginning. If it doesn't exist, it will return an error because you cannot read a file that is not created. Then writing, if it is existing, then it will be erased. That means it is taking the length of the file to 0. Then if the file doesn't exist, it creates it. So then there's what you call appending, which is also like putting the content to the end of a file. That means you may be having the file 1, file 2, then you want file 2 to be appended to file 1. That means all the content of those two files will be in one file. So then hano reka tuze turebe noneho za modes zacu. We're having read mode, write mode, and append mode. Aha ngaha hari keyword dukoresha kugira tumenye aho file irangirira ariyo EOF. EOF usually it is end of file. So it will be helping you. This is like -1. So if the length, if we are reaching to -1, that means you are reaching where there's nothing written from there. So read mode, I've said that it is open an existing file for reading, open a new file for writing, open existing file for writing, or create a new file. That means this is appending. And then the file marker positioned at the beginning. This here it will be positioned at the beginning. Here it will be positioned at the end. Then we are having here the dictionary. You may say I don't want only to read. Kavuga njye ndashaka gukoresha read and write. So that means you can use R plus. W plus also it is helping you to read and writing, but it will be using this overwriting files. You understand overwriting. So A plus also it will be helping you to use the append mode. So let me say here we are going to use fopen, file open. Then let's have a little explanation about this function. So usually this function fopen, it will be taking two arguments, two character arguments. The first one is the file name and the second one is the mode. So hano mode twazibonye you can be r plus w plus a plus r w a. So then it will return what is the return type of that function. It is file pointer, it is the pointer. Usually you have to create a pointer of a file or a file pointer. That will be the return type of our fopen function. Let me see here like an example. You can see here we are having twavuze ko tuzajya dukoresha header ya studio, then turaje main. So the file here, I'm having my file pointer sp data, then my sp data will be to fopen my data dot dat. That means also the mode will be write. That means I'm going to write this file. If it is existing, then that means it is going to be erased and recreated. So this sp data, it will be a pointer, but it will be pointing to a certain file. Then that certain file, it will be made of some stream of elements. So then why do we need to close a file then? When we finish with a mode, we need to close the file before ending the program or beginning another with the same file. To close a file, we use fclose and the pointer variable that has been created before, that pointer or file variable or file pointer. Then here we are having some other functions that are useful. The other one is fprintf. Usually fprintf, it will be taking the string and also the variable. Let me use here. That means I need to put. So let me explain this example and then we got to understand. So I'm having my int I, float x, and cal s. That means these are like the student information, id, name, and marks. So then you want to write those in a file called out.txt. So you're going to write in it. So you will use this fprintf. Usually that means you are just getting something and putting it in a file. Then in order to access to that file, we will use this file pointer. Then from this file pointer, it is like accessing to the file name. But here we don't use file names, but we use file pointers. We got to see a very good application implementing all of these ones. Then the other one, it is fscanf. Fscanf, usually you can say I have like two variables, then I want to read the content of a file into those variables. So you can then use fscanf. So we are having getc. So these ones we have covered them when we were talking about formatted input and output, and then formatted input and output. So then the end of file, there are a number of ways that we can use in order to identify the end of file. But here we can use this FEOF. That stand for file end of file. So here I can say I need this pointer, the file pointer, and then I'm having my status. The status, this fscanf also can be having the return type of an integer. Then if I status is equal to file end of file of the ptr one, that means they are having the same values. So that means we are at the end of the file. So this is very understandable. Let me say we need to read and write. So let me write these examples. Okay, let me explain this. Reading and writing a file. So that means here I'm having the out file and in file. So I'm having my b, which is this one, then float this one. So I have all of this. So here output file, that means this is the pointer this is our file pointer, which is good. I'm going to create let me say this is the file that I want to create, and then from that created file, let me say fprintf output file, I'm going to put something abc. That means I'm putting a 13.72, c which is b which is 5, c which is 6.68. So after writing those what I want to write in, then I close it. Then the in file, it will be to reading. I'm going to read what I have created from there. Then I can say I want to read them through this E, F, and G. These are the these should be also be having the same data types, as the other ones that I have created. So that means I'm going to read the content of this txt file into those variables, but it's because I know how many values do I have in the file. If I don't know the number of variables, then I will need to use another way that we are going to see very soon. So let me copy this, then we go here, in and out. So if I try to run, then there is a problem here. Which problem is that? Identified. So I think it is the same problem as here. So you can see that we are having these things. So if we try to go there, let me try to go there. You can see that there is a file called file yitwa test.data.txt, and then muri iyi ngiyi twashyizemo a, b, and c. So you can also copy these things and then to another file. So let me continue. Then here we are having another example, and to this example, then you don't know how many values do I have in. So that means you will need a loop that will be go till it reaches the file end of file to that pointer. So if you are having like the other one, let me copy this one, and then so that you may see it. Let me say this is the file. So you can see that I'm reading everything. Why is it coming like this? Usually this is a 13.72 n'amazero ane. Kubera ikiri kugira gutya ni ukubera yuko nakoresheje get c. That means I'm only getting one character. Uvuga iragenda ibara umurongo umwe nirangiza paka irangije igeze kuri end of file. So you can see that it is not difficult at all to use files in C. Then we can use this, let me say here we want to use the freed, but no, freed and the right, let me leave them. You will study them by yourselves. So here we are having like these things, write text using fprintf. So these are the things. So let me say we need these things. So I can say, let me say we need this. So let me say so material style. So usually this stdlib, it is for exit. It is for exit function. So here ndaje ndavuga I want this num. Then I created my file pointer. Then using the file pointer, I'm going to write a file called program. So let me say I want it to go to local disk E. So then if this pointer is not, that means there is no file, it is not error in creation. Then else ndahita mbaza umuntu ngo shyiramo nimero yawe, arodinge nimero, then nkurishe f print if kugira ngo nze gushyira the other number in fptl ariyo ya file yacu yitwa program. So let me run, enter your number, then if we go then kuri local disk E kubera ko ariho nagiye kubisavinga, we will see what we call my data, no, not my data but program. Then in my program I'll be having whatever I have said that I need to have. You can see that it is very easy as long as you understand the logic of doing it. So let me go again to this one, read from a text file. Then we have wrote in the text file, this is from here we have wrote something in number. Then here I'm going to read then what I have wrote in my program, in my file, sorry, using C program. So let me go back in here, then I say paste, I paste like this one. So it will be this, so this, okay. Let me say for so if this f open is equal to this one, then printf message program exit. So then if the file pointer program exit, and should it be exiting from the system? No way. Okay, printf program or exit. If the file exit, then I will have these things. Usually this is the program. So I need I'm sorry. So let me run like this. Let me say I need So I need to read it what I have wrote in my text. So the value of n is this one. You can see that it is reading from the file and then it is displaying for me. So let me say we need to use another program that will be giving us the Leo key. So let me say copying the content of a file to another file. This is another issue. So you may be having one file and then you want to do a backup. So let me not this one. Copy the file content. Usually auxiliary so this is the one. Then let me say, let me explain to you guys what is the role, what is the use of this program. I've told you that txtbx is for this exit method, no so function. So here we're having our function main, then we are having the two pointers of ours, file pointer 1, file pointer 2, and I'm having the file name which is having this 1000 and C. So we say enter the file name to open for reading. So that means it's up to user to enter the file name. Then after reading the file name, then here we have said that the fopen function will be having two parameters, file name and the mode. So hano kuri file name ubwo n'ubwiza bifite what the user has entered. So if ptl fp12, that means this is the pointer pointing to that file. Nimba ingana na nari tuza tuvuga yuko it cannot open that file. Muri make ntabwo iyo file ihari. Then we exit from there. Then nitumara rero gufata ibi ngibi, so we will ask him again. If it is not that, then turaza ko tumubwira enter the file name to open for writing, narangiza ayibone. Namara kuyibona rero, where want us to get, so we'll be saying here. So then if ptl, so it cannot get this one. So c is equal to get c ptl fptl1. That means I'm getting the content of the file, the first file. Then while c is not equal to the end of file, that means c ifite ikintu ntabwo ifite -1, ntabwo iragira aho file irangirira. Then I will put the content of c in ptl2. That means I'm pasting, I'm like copying what I'm having here into this one. Then c is equal to f get c, then ptl. That means I'm pasting and then I'm getting the other value. So then the content copied, I will tell him the content has been copied successfully. Let me run this file. So I will check from where. So enter the file name to open. Usually let me go there. Let me say hano dufitemo file yitwa test my data. Let me say here we are having 10, 11, 12. So let me say we're having these things. So it is test data. Then on my test data, so let me run this. So let me build and run. So enter the file name to open for reading, the test data, then enter the file to open for writing. That means I'm going to copy something from text data. I paste it to a file called copied. Let me say copied file. So you will see it cannot open file, copied file. So let me come in a second to see what is the. So let me say here we are going to use this program. I've already explained the program and the use of this program. So let me run it. So let me say we want to copy some content from this file, and then we are going to paste them from another file called this. So we see that the content has been copied to that file. So if we go back again to our documents, so you will see that there is a newly created file which is AAA. So it will be having all the values that are presented in txt data. So you can see that in order to copy values from one file to another, it will be very easy. So the other, it is how can we sort the file content and copy them in another file. So it is the same sorting. So what I will only add is the sorting codes. So the sorting codes usually it will be these ones. Sorting codes I've used insertion sort, and then these are the code for insertion sort. But I want us to understand much more this. So let me say I need this file pointer f1 and the file pointer f2, fp2. So this fp1 it will be reading from me the content of my data1.txt, and then this my data1, I want it to have the values of this array. The array that will be having 10 elements. Then if fp1 is equal to null, that means the file is not present. Then while then else, that means it's like else. Then I will be scanning if scan if this if p1 into temp. If it is not equal to the end of file, then I will be taking the values of that array to temp. That means I'm going to put them into temp. Then I will call my method of sorting. After sorting, then I want also to take the content into from that array into that file. So after having that file, then I will be finishing from that. That means everything that is from this first file will be sorted here. After being sorted, then it will be inserted into the second file. So you can here then you can see that it is a good program, because if you're having like a list of students, then you want to like to sort the students, but you are having you are guessing that probably there can be a data loss. So it is good not to use the original file and then you use the other file, not the original one. So this is all. So this is all. If you want to do anything from the file, so each and everything has been seen. So you can say I need like the personal details, like names, age, and salary of the employee. So then here I will be using the employee code. Uh, so I just ask the user enter your name. I receive the name, and then I use fprintf in order to write the name in my file. Usually the file pointer will be fptr. The same as age, the same as salary. So after then, that means everything that will be got from the user input will also be written in a file. I can also run the system, and then you enter your name. Let me say my name is Gwiza. Enter your age. She's having 25. The salary that she's getting, I think she's been paid 500. So you can see now that this employee code. So if we go there, you will see that we're having this employee code of ours. Then I will edit using this one. You can see that the name is equal to Gwiza, age is equal to this one, and So you can say there's nothing from there which is difficult. So it's all about practices. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. If you are having any problem, you can write me to the description below, or you can leave your comment, then I will answer. Thank you and have a good day.